is about taking the same situation you wrote about in case 1 and recreating it in an ideal format. That is, you can change anything at all about your current practice. Oh, are there 2 green ones?
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
A green sheet that says case number 2, your ideal learning environment.
So it's toward the front. The adult ed people have another green one, and it's toward the back. The K-12 only have 1 green one. So it should be right behind the pink, I think. Yes. So that, for instance, if you were describing your workplace, and I'll just tell you about one that I remember so vividly. There was a woman who worked for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and was a trainer for, particularly, I think it was the people who man the phones, who deal with the phone calls. Customer service. And she had the ugliest room in the building, and it had, in the back of the room, they stored junk in it. So when the people came in to train, it was like this really ugly room that looked like, you know, it was for another purpose and certainly not for training. The drapes were torn, the shades were cracked. It was just an awful room. So when she did this second case, she did some things that were more what we would talk about the heart of the training. But the first thing she did was she described the room as painted, with good curtains, with no junk in the room. I mean, she just described it. And then she talked about also a transformation, what she was able to do with her learners. She gave the case to her supervisor, and guess what happened? They painted her room. They gave her new drapes. They, you know, so this has the potential.
We stress potential.
Potential to make a difference in your life. So think about, it's really an exercise in what would make my teaching and learning environment better. Now you can't just say, if I had smarter kids, all of whom could pass my tests. Or you can't say I would have all eager, motivated people coming to my training, because that may not change just by waving the wand. It may change, though, because you use technology better, because you build, your company has more support for the training that they send people to, and they're reinforcing it back on site. So this is a chance to think about, if you had a perfect environment, what things would have to change, and then describe it as though it had already changed. So the worksheet really asks you to think through, borrow yours.
Sure.
First general question, what aspects should we include in a short case describing the ideal learning environment for working with learners in your setting? The goal is not to change the learners, but to create the best possible environment. Notice there's no closed paren, so you might want to put that there. You can edit us. And then we're going to, so think about general aspects, and everything from the resources you have to the way your curriculum or your training modules are organized, etc.
I'd love to hear how you, when people do this assignment well, how they bound the idea of what counts as the learning environment. The walls of the classroom, the school, the community, the entire company. I mean, I think in order to focus your thinking well, like if your school is in a really high poverty neighborhood and one of the things that you'd love to get rid of is gun violence, it seems like that's less focused for the purposes of this assignment.
That's true. I don't know if I've remembered anybody that's taken that on, although they have taken people out of an inner city environment and had a second campus that they travel to that's in a park.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But you could, in fact, change social situations, I think.
Right.
The only rule is you can't change who your learners are.
Right.
I have a question. So to clarify, we're not so much referencing case 1 to case 2 and showing the transition.
No,
we are now just this ideal environment.
You're writing a new case from a new perspective, but you keep the learners the same. And in fact, you can change the name of your company, the name of your school. You know, you can radically revise all of that, but your learners come to you with the same characteristics your learners had. Now, how you teach them may in fact transform what happens to them once they're with you. But that's how they start.
And I would just add, if one of the feedback pieces that you got from us is that we didn't have enough detail about your particular learners, but
Yeah.
more maybe like the challenges that they present or trends. I think that this is an opportunity to maybe give us a little bit more
Yes.
detail in that
Right.
regard.
Yeah.
You can't change your learners, but can you change some of the other people that are involved?
Absolutely.
Yes, you can work for the best administrator or boss in the
You
world.
can change your college, you can change your administrators, you can change the parents of your children.
Yep.
You can change parents.
Elected officials?
Yeah.
Could you change the number of kids you have in
Yes.
the room?
You can have unlimited resources. You can stay in your union. Whatever you want.
All right.
I would suggest that we might want to have alike tables. We usually do this in adult ed settings and in K-12 settings. So if, how many tables are just one style? This table's all K-12. This table is half and half.
Right.
Okay. This works best when we're actually thinking about the same kind of environment.
Right.
So if you wouldn't mind doing a little fruit basket upset, let's say these two front tables, because we have, how many people do we have? We have 12, okay. We're missing, what kinds of folks are we missing? Okay, yeah. Let's have 3 tables where Alice McCoy is, and the back table and this table be adult ed, and these 3 tables be K-12. And you can go where